Hi, everyone. Lanie here. I had the profound honor of sitting down with Rosemarie to talk about her amazing journey into advocacy, how difficult it was, and really a lot of interesting things. I hope that you learned so much from this episode, and please consider donating to Joan's Joy along with entering the book giveaway. I will include details in the show notes, but thank you as always for listening. Welcome back to True Crime Convos. I'm your host, Lanie Hobbs, and as you know, we record locally here in Dallas, Texas, but today I am joined by a very special and wonderful woman who I had the wonderful opportunity to meet a month or so ago to talk about her lovely daughter, Joan, and the work that she's been doing. I want to thank Jesse Hawk, who is our production assistant for True Crime Cases with Lanie, for introducing me to Rosemarie, and I am going to let Rosemarie introduce herself, but this is Rosemarie D'Alessandro.
Okay, hi everyone. Good to connect with you today. I have a story that is very special. It really is. It's about something terrible, but yet it's also can be relatable to lots of people in ways that pertain to not only dealing with the crime, but also in time you will find, if you even get the book, it will relate parts about like what I went through in a personal way during the time when letters were being written by him to a pen pal.
Right. So we're talking about your beautiful daughter, Joan D'Alessandro, who was 7 years old when she was taken from you. So what can you share about Joan to help the audience get to know her a little bit? And I've had the pleasure of doing this already, and we got to talk a lot about her and the kind of spunky nature she has in her photos. You could just tell she was just a well-liked, well-loved little girl.
Yeah. Well, she was so unique to me. I've had 5 children, and I was also a special ed teacher, and also taught like say religious ed for several years, and I met a lot of children, but I knew with Joan there was something different about her, and I was told something when I was, she was my 3rd baby in 2 years. So when Joan was born, I had 2 of the babies, a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old. So this chaplain comes in and he tells me, he says, you know, it's a very happy time for you. He said, but what's going to happen is there's going to be hard times with her. So already there was something that was unique about her that was like bringing awareness to this chaplain. And of course, to hear that was the last thing I wanted to hear, or couldn't even imagine something like that. You know, I wasn't thinking about that. I mean, you know, I was having children in my early 20s, and so I found out that when I had this baby that always smiled and very like there was a certain like there's a contentment. She just had this contentment. You just saw her and you would feel content. And I remember bringing her to the doctor, and the pediatrician, and he never said this about my other children, but about Joan, he said, she is a happy baby. You have a happy baby.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was like, I go, gee, what else can I hear? This is awesome. And then I saw as she grew, uh, like I take, an area when she was about like going on 2 years old, she would just be like, we have like a slope, like a slant in our backyard. It's
Mm-hmm.
not all level. And she would just be loving to come down there, and just her little curls, because she had all these little curls. Her hair was like little blonde, little brown in it, and a little auburn. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And a little floppy. She would just keep on flopping, and she just going down that little slope in the back. I could
Mm-hmm.
remember. And then sometimes she would have my shoes on, and my shoes, I mean, I'm 5'9.5".
Oh,
I have,
wow.
I have big feet. And they were really, she had these shoes on. And of course, the left was on the right and the right was on the left. And and I could see how she loved being outdoors. And nature just seemed to fit her
Mm.
because she was so free. And you see, when you're out in nature, you feel free, or there's something about the wind, something about the flowers, the leaves. Nature can be, you see like a free spirit there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she was a free spirit. She was in her atmosphere, and that's why I think green became her favorite color,
Right.
and orange her second favorite color. So here it is. She has the cool colors. She has the warm colors. And as she grew, I saw this was a child that had a balance to her.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't, even though she was very sociable, she was very outgoing. She was a leader type, without self-importance, I was told by her dancing teacher, but had the leader part, would always be the first on the line. Let's go, let's get the job done type of thing. And she would just keep on, showing something just every day, every day. Um, I mean, and I would hear things about her like years later, which I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
I just found out something about her 2 months ago.
Oh, wow.
She liked lace cookies. I didn't know that. She liked them a lot. She used to eat them at her little friend's house, no, her friend's grandmother's house, which was 2 blocks away from here.
Uh-huh.
So Joan would go over there, after school. And at that time, this was in the 70s,
Mm-hmm.
things were different. It was like your child was outside playing, and he would just be going to his friend's house.
Right.
Well, and Joan might say, "Oh, I'm going to my friend's house." When she's going to the friend's house, she might meet another friend, and then wind up at the other friend's house. So, but anyway, that's how she used to like those cookies. And I found out from her friend who came over to the house,
Mm-hmm.
to get the book. Then she had, like about 20 years ago, someone else told me how she made Joan feel important. Joan was popular. She was there with all the children. She didn't think of popular. She was just having a good time,
Mm-hmm.
playing with her friends. Let's go play. Let's go play. And then there was this child to the side, very nice girl, and she was not playing. And then Joan just said, "This is what the girl told me. Come play with us." So she came, and then Joan made sure that she was there playing with her every day.
Oh, that's sweet.
And that's big.
Mm-hmm.
She just didn't do it one time. So because of that spirit, the theme, big theme right now, is stand up and do something, and that's what my advocate work, stems from. Stand
Mm-hmm.
up and do something, and she was an inspiration for it, just by the way she was. Now, Joan was, as you could see, that's social justice,
Yeah.
and she was going to continue that way. And so then I knew that when what happened, that I would have to be a voice,
Yes.
because I also am for social justice. And I became her voice.
Yes.
But this child was, she loved daffodils. The morning of the day that she went to heaven, and she suffered so much before. She had made a tulip, red tulip, in the pencil box.
Mm-hmm.
It was red, and she liked dogs. She would bring like the neighbor's dog for a walk on the leash. I didn't even know they were. The neighbor would be out. Oh, can I walk your dog too? And then I would find out after. But remember, that's the way it was.
Yeah.
It was free. It was free. Um, she she liked she liked music a lot. She would take the little phonograph, the childlike phonograph, and sit in the little chair, and she would just listen to music on and on and on. And she loved Ode to Joy. She liked classical music.
Mm.
She started understanding about piano when her sister, a year older, was taking piano lessons. And you could see she was starting to pick it up by ear.
Mm-hmm.
When she would play something at the piano, she would have such enthusiasm with it, you had to listen.
Yeah.
It wasn't like routine. It was putting a heart completely into it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very beautiful. Because she was going to be taking piano lessons when she was 8, and did she did get murdered when she was 7.5.
7. Mm-hmm.
And her birthday was September 7th, so that was going to be after that. Now she was a gifted ballet dancer. She was going to be taller. She had long legs. Probably going to be about 5'8", at the most. Not as tall as me. She Maybe you could see her pictures sometime.
Mm-hmm.
The picture you'll see her in her ballet outfit. But she was just very coordinated with that. Didn't like softball. I didn't see her going into that. I didn't see her doing like somersaults like that.
Mm-hmm.
But she liked the movement. She liked all that type of, athletic way. I mean, she could stretch herself, and she, she. I guess she liked her name. She never said anything about her name.
Like, yeah, we go through that phase, right, where we
Right?
try and find a new name for ourselves. I did.
Right? Right?
But
Right?
yeah, no, she truly sounds the way you talk about her,
Mm-hmm.
is just so lovely. I can relate to that obviously because I'm a mom now. Um, and
Mm-hmm.
noticing the little differences and,
Mm-hmm.
specialness of our
Mm-hmm.
child is just really
Mm-hmm.
beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then, the event happened, the tragedy
Yeah.
about, right?
Yeah.
And I wonder for you, how raw is it still for you
Raw.
for to know
Raw.
that the date's coming?
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. Like, is it still for you like yesterday for you?
No. No, it's not like yesterday.
Mm.
Um, After Joan died, um, I believed that life goes on. And how
Mm.
it goes on is by remembering her, but not in a way. This would take maybe about, like, say, after, it's a development thing. It's like a process. Like the first 3 months were very, very
Mm-hmm.
difficult. Could not even listen to the radio. After that, I remember wanting to talk about it a lot, and there weren't people wanting to listen. That was very hard. So that's what I would
Mm.
say. In listening to me, if you could get something out of it and just do the opposite of what people were doing to me, okay? And you need to listen. You need to listen to them, especially when it's someone, but any kind of death, but especially a child, with a child,
Mm.
especially. Um, but that doesn't discount not listening to someone that needs to be talk about their grief, no matter what it is. But
Right.
with the child, it's it's different, especially also when a child is taken away violently. It's different. Your mind doesn't think
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah.
Um, you know. So, but what I did was I kept on just talking to everyone, and then I felt like I was talking to the wall. But in doing that kind of talking, I was helping to process all the shock and thoughts in my mind, and that was good.
Mm.
And then I
Yeah.
remember, I remember that every April 19th, that's when Joan was killed, was murdered. That was on Holy Thursday. And I remember Holy Thursday, she's found on Easter. That was going to play a big part, okay, a big part in even healing. Even though I didn't know, I didn't think of it as healing. I was thinking it more on a spiritual basis. Those 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but every April 19th is hard. There's spiritual life, there's spirit, there's energy, and that lives on, you see?
Yeah.
And that is very good because
Mm.
it's, there are different things to do that help with the healing. Now, what I did was we had lots of like donations and people were searching for her, and I didn't know who it was. And so in order
Yeah.
in order to give them something, thank you, and something for them, we built the grotto, and that was on the church property, and they let us do it. And that was like, it took about a year and a half. So while we're working on that, right? Guess what? It was it was a way to heal. You see, I'm working on this project.
Yeah.
Right? The project is related to Joan,
Mm-hmm.
so she's not like far away. She's still there. As you're going,
Yeah.
because it was very shocking. Very shocking.
Yeah.
Because 1 minute I'm saying goodbye, and the next 2 minutes she's getting killed. And
Yeah.
so then what happened was, I just worked on it. It took about a year and a half, and I put it to Our Lady of Lourdes, because, like, in my faith, Our Lady of Lourdes could heal people, and people could go to this grotto
Mm-hmm.
24/7, and they could go pray, they could go meditate, or they could just look at it and be peaceful. It doesn't matter, what religion
Yeah.
is. It doesn't matter if you didn't have religion. It's a beautiful place. So that was
Yeah.
that was good for healing, and that's what I would suggest to people that are going through hard times. You might want to do something, and remember, I didn't do it for that. I wasn't thinking for healing, but I saw that it did that. So you might
Right.
want to do something in memory, and with the money you got, or do it on your own, and it could be lots of different things, a lot of different
Mm-hmm.
ideas. You might get ideas
Yeah.
that I'm not thinking
Yeah.
of.
No, I think what you're doing is incredible.
Yeah, because you want to see what you want this to do It's not just to stop with Joan. You see, that's why to me, no, I don't live this. I don't live it like in a sad way. You know what I mean? I definitely
Mhm.
miss her.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I get a little tear, but then you just go, it's okay. It's okay, because you feel and you love, and you have feelings. But the thing is that if this what I'm saying now is not just for you to get sad with, or when you hear the wonderful, you know, the narration from Lanie, the beautiful narration she will
Mhm.
do. Um, it's really that that you get something from it. You know, I want it to be that it does something good, for the people and for society. But of
Yeah.
course, it starts with Joan
Yeah.
and her mom. But let's go, let's go, let's go. So, and with that kind of
Bigger.
attitude,
So how did you get
have it.
started even
Mm, yeah.
so how did you get started even thinking about doing Jones Law? Like, what was the process of in your brain going, I have to do something. Okay, you did the grotto. You keep Joan's memory alive, but something pushed you to want to do more for others.
Well, this is the way it started.
So what
I
was that for
I
you?
I saw a sign in those 2 days, Holy Thursday and Friday. I had never heard of anyone dying on Holy Thursday being found on Easter. Then you take Joan, who I explained to
Mm,
you, as much as I could, in this time. You get the three together. That was a sign to me. So every day I'd look for a sign. Then what happened was 20 years later, this is when everything started. It took 20 years for the sign. But it
mhm,
had to do with a call that I got, and her killer was going to be coming up for parole 6 years sooner than I knew. With my experience, with the first experience, I didn't know that
mhm,
his like, because of good behavior, because of work credits, his time would be cut. Didn't know that they do that. Imagine they do
mhm.
that. That's what they do. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And so then what it did was we had to fight to keep him in, and there was no law then that said no parole for people that sexually molest, and murder children under 14, right?
Mm,
And no law. If there was a law like that, I wouldn't have to go through it. My family wouldn't have to go through it. The community wouldn't have to go to it. Society wouldn't have to go through it. There was testifying, appeals. The appeals lasted years, years. Testifying 3 times. I'm going through this. The last time, even Michael and John, who were born after Joan died, even testified. And they never met their sister. And
wow.
they're, and they're the ones that are helping with the foundation now. The ones she never met. And they never met her.
Right.
So I get these 2 sons like that. So anyway, I said, we have to change things. Nobody's changing things. If we had a law like that, no parole ever, right? For people that sexually assault and murder children
Right.
under 14. That means at least they could be free of testifying, free of appeals, and the society, community wouldn't have to worry, and the family, that that man would be out again, or the person, the perpetrator. So you see,
Right.
because he had gotten 14 years, 14 years meant life. After that, he was always eligible. In 93, it was 20 years. So it was 7 years beyond his parole eligibility of 14. So here, there was a good chance he could get out. So we really had to
Mhm.
fight. We had to fight. And then we had to do it in 2008 again. It was getting harder, 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 harder. Because 2008, right? That was what?
Yeah.
15 years more. And there were cases
Yep.
happening at that time where people that were eligible for parole after 35 years did get out. And this was in New Hampshire. And the person,
Right.
so it's like so then that's how I started going for laws. And that was the first one. And that took 3 years to get through.
Yeah.
I had to get Joan out there. Remember, it was a long time since the tragedy. People remembered her, but not remembered her. Maybe, of course, and I wouldn't expect it like I remember her. But
Yeah.
you had to get her more vivid. So we had to, do Green Ribbon
Hmm.
campaign. We had to do petition campaign. We had to put flyers out. And in 2008, we got 100,000 signatures. Okay, and that went to the parole board. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
That's
then
amazing.
it
What advice would you give a family who's going through this and looking to change the laws and have no clue who to contact, who's the first person that they should be going to say, I want to change something about this because I lost my loved one and this person's coming up for parole too, or may come up for parole, and I don't want to, have another family affected like this.
well, first of all, you have to have an idea. You kind of write up the law that you want, right? Then
Mhm.
when I found out um, through trial and error, I'll just give you the clear step. I went to a senator, okay? So you go to the senator or the assembly person in your district. In New Jersey, we have
Mm.
we're District 39, okay, in my area. I'm northern New Jersey. So you'd have to
Mhm.
see how in your state districts are divided, or are they divided that way, okay? But you
Right.
will have people representing, the people. You will have like legislators representing the people in your state. So you go to them with that. Then it could take time. It'll take time. Everything takes time. It took like nine
Mhm.
9 months. Okay, 9 months for something to start moving. Start moving. So that means you have to be one of the characteristics you need to never give up. You have to be persistent as you go to these people, for instance, the legislators, and you'll be working with an aide or the director, mostly an aide,
Mhm.
someone from the office. And that is going to be your person that you have to make a connection with. That's the person that you have to communicate with. And then what you can do, which what I found very important, because right now I'm going for another law, the expansion of Jones Law in New York
Yeah.
State. Okay. So right now, for instance, what did I do about a month ago? They weren't letting me get through to the senator, right? So then I said I'd like
Mhm.
to make an appointment to talk to the senator. So what these people did, well, they said someone came on the phone, and that day when I had this meeting, meanwhile the senator wasn't there. It was a staff member,
Hmm.
and they said, "Well, we said you had an appointment with the office in the email." So then I said, I don't like what you're trying to do with me." So the point is, I'm telling you
Yeah.
that sometimes you gotta say something, you know, but you say it in a respectful way. But so this way you get rid of those feelings that you could have that make you like irritated and will show in your voice. Because
Right.
remember, a lot is done
Mhm.
on the phone, and the voice is very important. They could tell. And then if you have that
Right.
irritation, they'll feel threatened. So I'm telling you some of the psychological parts too.
Very helpful, I think. I think that's very helpful. I find it so interesting that we get these roadblocks from people that we literally vote into office, and they're like, "Yeah, I know you voted for me, but I can't feel like I need to help you right now." So it's so interesting. And obviously, with this community, as they get to know you and Joan's story more, we're happy to support wherever we can and amplify the message of getting Joan's law passed in New York. And hopefully that happens. But however we can help spread the message, either on our campaigns on social media. I know that for us, advocacy is the biggest thing for us, for a bunch of ethical creators that are out there, who are going to be happy to share Joan's story and Joan's message, and especially your message of perseverance. And I'm holding right now a very important thing, right? And for everybody post, who's going to see this live stream on YouTube, you'll see the visuals. But for those who are going to be on the podcast listening in, I'm going to have the visuals as well on our Instagram, so you can go, or you can watch the YouTube video. But I have this book that was written by Rosemarie. Everybody can see it. And you get to see Joan's really beautiful face. She's in her Girl Scout uniform. And she is, when I tell you, and you look at the pictures, even on Joan's Joy's website, it's joansjoy.org, you will instantly be enamored with Joan. And she is just, I'm truly, like, as soon as you sent me all those pictures, I was just like, man, this kid just looked so sweet, so cute. She just had, you could just tell she had a nature about her. Um, but this book is so comprehensive, and it really does. I mean, you just have some really sweet photos in here too, which is really great. Of Joan and the family, and letters. But I want you to talk a little bit about the book and its creation and what prompted you to make it, and the hope you have for people purchasing it and reading it.
Okay. Well, we have a foundation, and it's called the Joan D'Alessandro Foundation. So with it, we have lots of fundraisers, and we've made thousands of dollars, thousands, and we give it to like neglected, underprivileged children, people like say different organizations that deal with human trafficking, and then we do pet therapy. We contribute towards pet therapy for them, and so they went to Radio City Music Hall, like, and Great Adventure last year. They went for the Christmas show, and that was just some of the children. So with this monies we make, we have to have fundraisers, right? So in 2008, I was telling you, that was when we had one of our petition drives, because the killer was up for parole. And this was huge, huge, huge. It was scary that, he could be out. So with this fundraiser we had was a big yard sale. And we had about 23 tables all on my lawn, back and front, and the whole like canopy of the tent covered the whole back lawn. So this person comes over, and he has lots of slippers, lots of kitchen things, and he said that they were left there. He found them in the mother's house. The mother was deceased; she just died. He was cleaning up, and then he had heard that the killer was eligible for parole. Meanwhile, when he's cleaning up, he finds these letters. Some of them got destroyed; they were wet. But he brought over 332 letters that were written by him to a pen pal. He did not know his mother was doing this. This was his mother. Did not know. This was the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And because of those letters, I gave them to parole board, the real ones. And then here, I made a copy for us to have. They were used to help to keep him in prison, because you needed new information. So now, to get to the part like why I wrote this book, it was, I couldn't do anything with those letters at the time when Joan's killer was living. He definitely would have tried everything to get out of prison, because he would say, I had these letters, because that's what you find out in the book, how he always has that hope to get out and how he spends the money with the lawyers. And what happened was, all these letters had to be, I said someday, they just can't be secret. So in 2020, when he dies, then I knew the letters were free. But then guess what happened on that day? And then I knew exactly what I was going to do. Here, in the site where Joan was found on Easter Sunday in the mountains, they find my friend who's cleaning up over there, feels this rock is moving, some kind of rock is moving back and forth. He starts working at it. He's an excavator, very strong, wasn't going to let it go, takes it out. It's a heart-shaped rock, 17 inches by 11, 2.5 inches. Okay, I could get the rock. I could get the rock if you want me. I'll ask my son to get it. It's heavy.
Yeah, you can show it.
I knew it was a sign. Everybody, that was a sign. That was a very positive sign. Joan did, had a lot. She was going to do a lot of work. She was going to show her love. She was going to, through in many ways, which she had been showing it already, but now it was going to be more obvious. And that's why I started saying, "You got to write a book. Got to write the book." We have these letters, and then what I did, I wanted the letters to be summarized. I summarized the letters. Some people don't like to go to the letters right away. They'll get my summary. It's gentle, it's clear. And then I have my comments, okay? And my comments are not comments filled with hate. I don't have hate, but they're filled with, this is where, where's justice there? Look at this. Look at all, I'm over here, doing this, and look what he's doing. And then after that, I parallel my life. Parallel my life. And that's where you will see things. You will see it covers areas like what was happening in the family, areas of domestic violence, areas of sexual abuse, things you can't imagine. Yeah, you will see. You will see. And I have to tell you, those letters that were given to me that day, it was only when I started writing the book, my sons told me that they had seen an article on John had, and he had seen an article, and when he's sometimes looking into stories dealing with children and crime that are involved with terrible violence, and it spoke about this person that was a pedophile. He was a pedophile. The one that brought me the letters when he came to my house. This bring me the letters. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So there was that. You'll see that. There's a lot in the beginning of it, in the prologue, where I hit a lot of those areas, and then this book, like I said, a lot of people could pretend, see how did I deal with it, or a person might be saying I'm going through, because I didn't get support from my family. I didn't get support, and I hope that doesn't happen to you. But I did have support, and I hope you have this, from my faith, spiritually, tremendous support that way, And I used to say God was my psychiatrist, and I never really felt alone spiritually, but I did feel alone physically. Okay. But that wasn't going to stop me. It wasn't going to stop me because I had been almost trained. You get knocked down, you go up. Get knocked down, you go up. Because at that time, I was going through, I had this disease that they didn't know what was wrong. And that was the seventh year they were trying to find out what was wrong. And remember, I had three little kids too. And they did find
Right.
I had a rare disease called myasthenia gravis. So that's one of those things. You get this debilitating fatigue, you're knocked down, and then you go up. You get down. So because of that, though, there was a good part. It developed the strength because I was being told, "Oh, you're depressed. Oh, you have narcolepsy. Oh, the sinus infections are doing this. Oh, da, da, da." I said, no, no.
Right.
But I was by myself with it. And I was getting pressured to do things like, oh, you're just complaining about being tired. And so it got me stronger. No, no, I wasn't going to give in, but it doesn't mean it's
Yeah.
easy. It's not. It wasn't easy. You know. I'm not.
Right.
I'm a human
I
being.
think what's so lovely
Yeah.
about oh, sorry. I was gonna say, I think what's so lovely about what you do for Joan's memory and keeping her memory out there by talking about her and also just keeping her very alive, like in everybody's minds. It's similar to what we do in like the Mexican culture, is we have
Oh.
Day of the Dead, right? And so
Yeah.
it is not something where we're mourning the loss of the person, we're celebrating their life. So it's never something that we go into um where we're, where we're mourning or anything like that. I lost my brother in 2009 to a drunk driving accident. He was the only person who lost his life. I thank God for that because he was the cause of the accident, because he had chose to drink that night.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I'm glad that nobody else was hurt in that instance. But I struggled in the same way to deal with his loss, and for me, kind of losing him was such a shock to my system, such a shock to my own faith and everything. I spent a lot of time wishing that it were me instead because he had a daughter at the time. And at the time, I didn't feel like I had anything to leave behind or to lose. I was like, it would have been better if it was me. And so I took some time to deal with that thought process and go, well, what can I do to get out of this? Because I want to remember the great times with my brother. I want to remember the fun, car rides we had and everything like that. And being able to lean into the celebration of Day of the Dead was the thing that saved me and my grief. Going, well, now I'm going to channel this pain into joy. I'm going to turn it into something happy. I'm gonna remember him in the best ways, and I love that you do that for Joan, and that's a way that I can
Mm-hmm.
align with that. Like, every
Mm-hmm.
Day of the Dead and the anniversary of his
What date is
passing,
that?
we
What
light
date?
a candle for him, my grandma.
Yeah.
February 21st,
Oh, really? Oh,
7 days after his birthday. Mhm. He was
yeah.
born February 14th. So,
Can't
yeah.
forget that. Yeah, Valentine's Day.
Yep. I was like, 7
What's
days,
his
there you go,
name?
7.
What's his
Mhm.
name?
Oh, he has a very unique name. His legal name is Rancino Lopez, but we called him Chito.
Oh, oh, nice. Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
you were pretty young.
My mom
You
knows how to pick these names, let me tell you what. Yes,
you were
yes.
pretty
I
young.
was in college. I
Yeah.
was in
Mm,
college.
mm,
Mhm. Yeah. So it was definitely a shock, but I love that that's what you do. And I think that a lot of people who are going to be listening and watching will be able to relate to, especially a lot of the advocates that I work with now and survivors that I work with now. A lot of them do the same thing that you do. You find a way to persevere when you would have had every excuse to just stop, to not do anything, to go, I lost my child, it hurt me so much, and that's
mm-hmm,
it.
mm-hmm,
So many people that I meet who are advocates go, that can't be it. That can't be all I do. I have to do more. And I admire that so much. Um, what have you had anybody since Jones Law passed? Have you had anybody come up to you and say, like, this saved my child or this helped my family because we dealt with something similar, or thank you or anything like that? Have you ever had anybody come up to you and really kind of thank you for the work that you've done for Joan and for others.
A lot of people, especially at the fests, you know, and when
Hmm.
they also people email to me or they send me a card, but they make me remember all the people that the work inspired by my daughter. Um, she's
Hmm.
so many people with the laws, so many, it's like prevention. And sometimes I forget
Hmm.
because I'm always, I feel like the octopus. Like if you ask me what my career is, I'm an octopus. So there's this one, that one, this one. I mean, a lot of areas. It's not just a book, it's not just podcast,
Right.
documentary, scholarships. There's another part that deals with the program we have, Relaxation and Kindness program. There's the other part where I help people by where they just want to talk about situations. So that's so,
Hmm.
and so I find that they come up and they'll remind me. I said, thank you for reminding me because I forget. I don't even think. Still, it's not there. Maybe it's starting to be there.
Hmm.
You know, So, but when they tell me it's good, someone just told me last night. We were at a birthday party, and they had listened. They had listened to something because there was also now I told them about your podcast, this podcast, and they were telling me that part was hard. I said, I forgot that part was on there. Thank you for reminding me because
Mm.
my head is trying to figure how are we going to get scholarships for the kids. We just, worked, we had to pick a scholarship winner. That's what I was working on this week. One of the things. And plus,
Mm.
one of the arms I like to be for fun things. And I love flowers.
Yeah.
I love flower beds. Oh my gosh. It's amazing because I like to be outdoors. And so, then I get some help, they help me. And then I do the, I do the looking at it. No, I do more than that. But so one of the arms is for that. And then, I'm just saying, you know, gosh, I thank the people. I thank the people that, that really go out of their way, to say thank you. And really, they're not even just saying thank you, like how they understand how it helps them, like how it helps society. So I'm hoping
Right.
there's a case now in New Jersey where it looks like they're going to use Jones Law for a little baby, 2 years old, that was raped in her.
Amazing.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
See now that when I see that,
I
then
don't understand.
that definitely stay in my head. Yeah. But it's
Yeah.
yeah. I really
That
think.
basically means that even those, oh, sorry. I think we're on a delay. That's why it keeps happening. So, I think that is wonderful because despite the tragedies that some people are going to go through, right, losing their child in some horrific way, through a violent crime, that there's kind of this protection, right, that Jones Law offers them, right? So
Well,
there's a consequence that protects the
yeah,
family.
I hope it doesn't happen because it's so hard.
Yeah,
But at least we have this. But I think, see, to me, what I work for is prevention and justice. That's my work.
right.
Prevention
Mhm.
and justice. So we don't know how many people might have gone all the way and didn't because, you know, they find out through the
Right.
grapevine, all these people. You'll see by reading the letters how there's a grapevine amongst themselves. So they find out and they'll say, oh, I'm not going to do that. There's Jones Law.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's well, good, great.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that you are wearing a white butterfly on your lapel. Um, Can you
Can you notice,
express
everybody?
the significance of that?
Yeah. This one, uh, John got me this. This was handmade, and the white butterfly became a symbol of like a good spirit, like of love, hope. Because when I went to the site, that I hadn't gone there in 8 years because I was pretty sick that time.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I still would work for laws, I worked getting laws through from bed when I would have energy. And then, so in 2006, I went there, and it was the 22nd was the anniversary when she was found. That's where she was found, up there in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to tell you, there's continuous water there. There's like a falls in the background.
Mm.
So it was in 73, and it's now, and it'll go on for another 100 years. So you can imagine, you hear the water. So it's very, very, very mystical, very spiritual, peaceful. Um, people going there for the first time, you just you cannot get over that. So when I went, I'm hearing this water, right? And this was only the second time I'd been there. I was the first time I was there. It was only for the 25th anniversary. I don't even think I heard the water then, because I was so emotional, like like inside.
Mm-hmm.
So, but so I go, and then there's this little white thing flying behind the boulders, back of the boulders, because she was put like in a space between a crack of two boulders. Okay, so this is the back of it.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to go up the hill to get the back of it. And she was down the hill. Her body was put there, and there was something flying, and it was a little white thing. And I thought, well, I never knew we had cabbage whites. And I thought,
Mm.
what is it? And it was a little white butterfly, a cabbage white. And then you see this one has two dots on each, right? See, that's a girl one. That's
Mm-hmm.
a girl. Yeah, this was made
Oh,
purposely. I don't know
that's
what colors.
sweet.
I don't know what colors the other had. Well, then I knew that was her.
Yeah.
She wanted me to be her voice, and she was thankful that I didn't just leave her in the cemetery and do nothing. And then I was going to be her voice, and that's how it started.
Yes.
I mean,
And that's how it's still going.
this
You're
this
still doing an
that's
amazing
how
job
this
getting,
started. This started the white butterfly. So maybe
yeah.
when you see a white butterfly,
So,
no
how
matter
have
where
your
you are,
sons?
no matter where you are, you see a white butterfly. What you might want to do is just maybe you'll think of Joan and you'll feel her. You'll feel her smile. I hope so. Do you have white butterflies where
Yeah,
you are?
that's sweet.
Do you have them where you are?
We do. We do.
You do?
Yes, we have, we
White
get a
or
lot of
yellow?
monarchs. Yes, we get a lot
No,
of
but this is
monarchs
white. This
and
is white.
white and
White.
yellow butterflies.
Oh, real all white? Wow. Down south, I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we do. We get quite a bit. We have the monarchs are the most popular ones here. Those are the ones you see floating around forever.
Wow.
But
Wow.
we do have the
Wow.
little yellow ones, and we have some white ones.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. Yeah.
It's amazing.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So your two sons, who were
Mm-hmm.
born after Joan's passing,
Mm-hmm.
how did you? Because there's a
Mm-hmm.
with the sibling side of things, right? There's a they're still connected to Joan despite not knowing her, and that obviously is through you and what you've shared about Joan with them
Yeah.
and the love you have and have expressed for Joan. So what can you share about what your sons are doing to support you and Joan's memory?
Okay. Well, first of all, they found out about Joan through pictures that I had in the house. And they didn't know about
Mm,
the word rape like John until he was 13. So even if
mm,
we had, like in 93, that's when the movement started, we had a vigil, they were 11 and 13. And that was another reason why I fought to keep the killer in prison, because they were very scared that it's going to come out. And
Mm.
that was like one of the parts, one of the parts. And so they got to know more about this whole story and how, like, the hard parts about it when they were about that age because of the other vigil.
Oh.
And yeah, yeah. So before that, I mean, and I didn't believe in isolating them from being to be a child. So they were allowed to go out and play. They would go and if they were there in the front, there was certain guidelines, but still be a child. And then said they loved their
Mm-hmm.
childhood. They loved it. They could be children. So at that time, they it was very bewildering to them some. But then they were seeing all these people supporting the bill, supporting us, supporting like safety, and that really made a difference to them. That they saw
Mm-hmm.
what Joan's tragedy, in a good way, what was doing in the world. You see. So then, little by little,
Yeah.
I didn't start asking them to help until maybe like later teens, you know, and and it was
Mm-hmm.
it was hard. It was hard for them because they didn't really want to be doing all this. But then something happened. They would be talking to someone, and then they saw what they could do, and how they could talk, and how they could help doing printouts and giving them out. And they were seeing that they were doing something that could make a difference. But then they would have their time. Oh, I don't want to do anymore. And then we would, all right. Is this, we would go. They would go through it. But then, as they got older, um, you just saw it was something that they were going to do for the rest of their life. It would be part of their life.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Amazing.
I know, I know. And their names are Michael and John, and they're my fourth and fifth child. And I had a miscarriage, let's see, about a year and a half before Michael was born. And Michael was born 7 years after Joan died. And I think the miscarriage was a girl.
Mm.
But I called the
Oh.
miscarriage, which, you know, he or she is remembered, Rosebud. Rosebud. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That was
Sweet.
hard though to have a
That's
miscarriage
amazing.
right after
Well,
she died. Yeah, yeah.
I know. So you didn't have it doesn't sound like you had a support system outside of your faith at home. Um but what about within your community and your friends? Was it kind of just the time that we hear about, right? I was born in 87. So
You were
it
in
was kind of those, yeah, like mind your own business kind of thing. Like we don't need to talk about it. We don't need to deal with it. We'll just sweep it under the rug and move on from it.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. It was like that, um, but you don't know exactly, what the people are thinking of, but it looked that way. And then her friend
Mhm.
that came over said to me, never told me this. And she said, she said, I said to my mom, you know, why didn't you go and visit Rosemary? And she only, this is in Hillsdale. She said, you could have brought something over, like, say, whatever, like a cake, maybe lasagna, whatever. And the mother said,
Mhm.
because, you know, just assume, just, you know, you assume, like, it was, you know, they were taking care of their own thing, they were taking care of it. But then the mother had tears, realized. And
Mm.
this was 50 years later.
Yeah. Some regret.
Well, you know, these people.
Yeah. I
All
I
I know,
think it's a
all
good
I want
message to keep
is that
to
people, please don't do it to other people, because all that could help a lot,
right.
so much, so much, so much. Even to bring out Michael and John. I mean,
Yeah.
Frankie and Marie. I mean, they were like little. They were 8 and 9. Just to say, I'll bring them for a
Mhm.
walk. I'll bring them for ice cream. No one did that. No one did that. No one did that.
Mm.
So, if they could do this, please, if you could learn something. I mean, yes, it was very sad and hard and so forth. But, I'm here. I'm here, right? I'm here. And,
Yeah.
I'm not all like, oh, or like hateful or something, but still, you don't want anybody to have to go through that. Please help them. You could help them even with a little email.
Yeah.
You could help them with a card. You could send a flower. You could leave something in the mailbox. You know? Yeah, yeah. About 3 years ago, it was
Yeah.
amazing. Somebody left a snowman with candy in the mailbox, and something else like 2 snowmen. They're precious to me. I took the
Hmm.
candy out and because that meant a
Yeah.
lot to me. Even now, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad that I had a chance to say that.
Well, Rosemary, yeah, me too. I was going to say that. I was going to say that you've offered a great amount of insight into what a grieving mother can go through, even though grief is different for every person, and really the call to action for people who are close to an individual who has either lost somebody to a violent crime or is the victim of a violent crime is to just be there for them, is to listen to them. Even though it may be difficult for you, it is something that you can do to support the person that you love, and not leave them without kind of a sounding board. And I think that, you know, it would have obviously been very beneficial to you, to your family, had you had that. I wish it was a different time because I think that maybe doesn't happen as often anymore. But, it breaks my heart for you to know that you went through something like that. I appreciate you coming onto the show and trusting myself, trusting the audience with Joan's story. I know that when they hear the episode on the regular podcast on True Crime Cases with Lanie, I think it will affect them in the same way that the story has, or the case has affected me. I think about you constantly. I was
Uh,
because we were coming
yeah.
up to
Mm,
the
mm,
recording of this
mm,
and thinking about Joan, and then I got her book recently in the mail, and I got to see Joan's beautiful face again. And it just demonstrates how important it is to listen to these contents listen to this content and these cases with care, because there are real people behind these cases. Joan was a real person. Rosemarie is a real person. Her family is all real. So these are not just stories that you're hearing and can turn off. It doesn't end for them. They have to continue. So, Rosemarie, what would you like people to know or to do? What kind of call to action are you looking for people to do, either as it pertains to Joan or their consumption of true crime?
mm. Well, if you see something, you see a child or someone in harm's way, stand up for them. Don't let them stay there and just have to go through a lot of suffering. Now, ways you could do that is, you don't want to get hurt yourself, but if you see that that wouldn't be the case, you have to do it directly. Another way is
Mhm.
that you call the police. Also, you could go to your church, but you have to go to someone. You know, you have to take care of it. You cannot let a child. If you hear a child screaming and you're in an apartment and that child is screaming and you know something is not right, okay, right? You got to do something, right? And you're going to be out of your comfort zone.
Right.
Believe me, you're going to be out of your comfort zone. But it'll be something that's the way we will get a better society, because what you do then grows, and it's positive, because we have to get society in a place now where there's more care for each other, see, and more like done in a way that's like genuine care, not because it's always going to benefit you, right? So just stand up and do something. You could always get in touch with me if you need to. We have the website that shows how to get a law through. You will see some other things there on the website that shows about the documentary that will be showing now in the spring. In fact, if anyone lives in Oakland, California area, there's going to be a showing of the documentary Daughter of Mine, a film that was 5 years in the process, and it's mostly about Joan and me, and the whole big meaning goal for society. And so that's Oakland, California on March 28th, and just happens to be Holy Thursday. And on that day,
Yeah.
And I know her documentary, Daughter of Mine, is one picked as one of the 4 best. So she's in there, 4 best. And,
Awesome.
yeah, so, but I don't
We
know
will
if they can
we will
hear me.
support that.
You will? Okay, good. You never know, because it's only,
Mhm.
I think it's close to Los Angeles. And where, what I would say also, ways you could start some kind of, you've heard of like scholarship funds, but I could talk to you about more intricacies of it, a more creative approach to it. Okay, that could be done. There are areas like, see, if we start thinking, how could we make society better? And not just think of ourselves, okay? You think of yourself, but not just yourself. It has to be a bigger picture. I mean, you could be very creative. And you could be creative for the people
Yeah.
that have been deceased and that you love, and that, like you're talking about the issue of drunken driving. There's a lot you could do there. There's a lot you could educate the kids, that they think. So maybe you could do
Yeah.
something in memory of your brother in the high school. You know what I mean? Yeah. It doesn't have to be a lot of money.
Yeah.
It could be like,
I know. I never thought of that. I never thought about that.
and we have a Chico,
It's incredible.
Yeah. So I'm just,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining me for this live stream. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for, again, like I said, trusting me with
Thank you.
Joan's story. And I am going to do everything I can to help amplify the work that you're doing, the work that your sons are doing, and to, respectfully tell Joan's story on the podcast, and hopefully, you know, go from there. But we are going to be giving away this book. It's signed by Rosemarie. It's called The Message of Light Amid Letters of Darkness. And it was, again, what Rosemarie was talking about earlier in the stream about the letters that she was given from um, a, a person, Jones. Killer who was behind bars writing a pen pal, and the information and seeing the parallels that are happening simultaneously in Rosemarie's life and just what I've been able to glean from it are truly impactful. Like, this is going to be such a great book to really have. And you have information sheets in here, flyers, and things like that, which is just really wonderful. So we will be putting out information on how you can register to be entered into winning the book. And this is all thanks again to the Jones Joy Foundation, or the organization that runs Jones Joy, which Rosemarie and her 2 sons had. We were able to get this book, so it's really special to have. And again, we will put some information out there on the website and then the show notes. So Any parting last words, Rosemarie, that you have?
Okay, I was just thinking that if anyone wants to help with the foundation, and we have a Child Safety Fest every year, and so we're having on September 28th, and we do a lot of tricky trade. So if anyone has anything that they would like, to donate to the baskets, even like things, or like gift cards, like say general ones that that their stores are in lots of places. I mean, we're in New Jersey, and that would be very helpful. And also, other ways we really could use help with is like I don't know if you would say this, but help to promote the book. I'm not really that great with marketing, as far as getting this book out, because if you look at the reviews, I don't know if you looked at the reviews, Lanie, you'll see there's an author there, and he's a New York Times bestseller author with John Douglas, Mindhunter. And they're the ones that, like John Douglas is a person that Silence of the Lambs is one of the characters. So there you go. And they're saying there was never a book
Based off
like
of.
that. And I couldn't believe it. They said, and they've written so many books.
Yeah.
And he said, there's nothing like this book. But you know what? It's true. I feel like I want to do it in a respectful way. You have letters like that. There's a reason why we got these letters. You see? I think Joan a lot to do in this world, okay? And it's going to be a lot of good. And she's strong. And she's going to tap you on the head with a little like paperback children's book. If you don't listen. So the point is there's a lot of good, a lot of good when it come out. And then I want to say for what you're doing, Lanie, I mean, you spend so much of your energy, you wear out for it, the love that you have for what you do to help the people. I mean, your brother has to be so proud of you. So proud. So proud.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Yeah. So, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
I hope so.
for doing the, of course, yeah. And then maybe like like I said, you could get him known a little bit, because that's a big subject. You could help a lot of people.
Yeah.
I don't know. You just I don't want to give you more work, but and then like as a mother, as a mother, doing all this, and you have a little girl, or a little child. It's hard. It's hard for you to be doing this, for listening to all this. So I love the way you directed it, and I feel your heart, beautiful heart. Did you want to see the heart, the big stone?
Thank you. That's yeah. Let's see it. I think it would be great.
Hey, John, you want to bring the heart? No, you're wonderful, Amy. You're wonderful.
What?
Thank you.
What? Did you get the heart? The heart, the rock.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, the rock is 20,000 years old. Yeah, a geologist.
Oh wow.
Yes, a geologist told us.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's gonna drop it.
Oh wow. Yeah, please don't.
Hi.
It's heavy.
Look, everybody.
Oh wow.
Look, you see it? Look.
Yeah, that's the heart.
See?
And
it was in the dirt.
Oh,
it was in the dirt, standing up. It was standing up in the dirt for 20,000 years.
Wow. Thanks again for listening to True Crime Convos on the True Crime Cases with Lanie YouTube channel. I hope to see you next time. And again, remember, you can always subscribe to True Crime Convos wherever you listen to podcasts.